baby. That's my cue. This is Rooster Grooves. Actually, usually I say our names first. I'm Jesse. Sitting across from me is Jay. And now, this is Rooster Grooves. How are you doing, Jay?
Pretty good. Welcome along, everybody.
Hype.
Hyped.
It's cold outside.
Yeah.
It's winter time in Seattle. Not technically, I guess. It's still fall.
Yeah.
But it's cold as frick.
Side note, I read an article recently about time and how there's like an extra second or something. You know, we have leap years. There's also like an extra second or something.
We got an extra second of sleep.
Now I'm talking about it. I realize I forgot all the specifics about it. But basically, it made me think about how time can slip. They're thinking about changing it, right? Because like removing the extra second or something like that.
Just take it out.
Yeah. But basically, like I think it was if they didn't have a leap year and all that, our seasons would shift until gradually over time.
Yeah, none of that. The orbit of the planets and stuff is perfectly exact. All that's changing.
Yeah,
slowly.
Exactly.
The moon's getting closer to us or further away.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
I think we're getting closer or further away from the sun as we go.
Yeah, man.
A lot going on, and I heard time doesn't exist either.
No, it's all just a concept.
Just a man-made
in our minds.
artifact.
Something we use to measure goals against, I guess, and achievements or something. I don't know.
We're
man, wow, okay.
A bunch of weird monkeys.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, it feels like winter. It's damn cold in Seattle. Not a fan.
But we're happy to be here, and we're getting warmed up here on Rooster Grooves.
Yeah,
with a band called Wombo.
Wombo.
Is that a good way to pronounce it?
That's how I would pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sounds like an Australian name to me when I first saw it written down. Wombo.
But, yeah. It sounds like like it would be a
like wombat.
Yeah, I guess like a wombat, which is
or like a
It sounds like a poisonous marsupial.
Wombo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
or like a Australian slang term for something. I don't know.
Yeah, for like some dumb American tourist or something.
Yeah.
Look at those wombos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But no, this is a 3-piece rock group from Louisville, Kentucky.
From Kentucky.
Yeah.
American born and bred.
Yeah. And pretty young, right? Still in their 20s, I think. And super underground. So, yeah, this might be a short episode because they're very underground, right?
There's not a lot of info.
Yeah.
And in some of the interviews that are existing, not a lot of great answers. Not trying to judge, but like some of the answers are just, I don't know.
To be fair to the band members, I think there's a lot of surface level questions that were thrown at them by different like music websites or something like that.
Totally fair, and that's because they're new.
Yeah.
Like we said, they're young, and the band in general is young. They started in like 2016.
Right.
So it's fairly brand spanking new as far as time goes.
Yeah.
But they got 3 albums out.
Yeah.
They've done some touring.
Yeah.
Did we say their names yet?
No. Let's go for it.
We
Name
got
check.
Sydney Chadwick.
Yeah. On vocals and bass guitar.
Cameron Lowe.
Guitar.
Joel Taylor.
On drums.
3-piece.
Yeah, 3-piece.
So it's like post rock.
Yeah.
At the heart. It's like a alternative or post punk. I guess post punk is the word I was meaning to say.
Yeah.
But it's they dip into like psychedelic stuff, art rock, even a little math.
Yeah.
I think one of their favorite time signatures I read was 7/4 meter.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And they said that sounds a little mathy, but it sounds very still rooted and groovy.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So, they're just kind of all over the place. Like their influencers are, I think Chadwick liked The Strokes, one of their albums.
Yeah.
Joy Division. I heard him talking about like Peter Hook from Joy Division, and what was the other band he was in?
Joy.
New Order.
New Order, yeah.
Yeah. So he always has those really cool bass lines.
Yeah,
like he practically invented that cool bassy Peter Hook sound.
Yeah.
And so that's another influence.
Yeah.
And so like droning guitars, frenetic sounds, kind of chaotic moments.
Yeah.
A little mathy though. It's like they're just really being themselves. Like when I was reading about how they were making music and stuff, they're just like they're not trying to latch on to anything or be trying to create anything specific. Like they all just like, oh, that's kind of a cool bass line. Let's just jam in this room.
Yeah.
Everyone minding their own business and making sounds with their instrument until we kind of latch onto something and kind of we'll build from there.
Yeah.
But they just kind of are really loosey goosey at the beginning of the writing process, it seems.
Yeah, and they're another one of these bands that like a lot of people that listen to them and journalists and all that compare them to a lot of like 80s bands or new wave bands and all that. And a lot of these band names that they throw out at the members of Wombo are like, oh, we don't really know who those people are. So they kind of naturally found their sound without really sort of trying to mimic that sort of genre.
Right.
I think they haven't really said that you've mentioned like the influences that they've said out there, but they don't really go into like that too much. Like they sort of mention that they're into so many different inspirations, music and also outside of music, like things and people and stuff like that. So they're basically like pulling all these influences, creating the sound without like listening to like New Order or whatever. And
There's kind of
"Alright,
like a
I'm gonna copy that."
separation between their creative influence and who they're influenced by.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're influenced by the world around them.
Yeah.
Like everybody is, but they don't really take that to heart in the creative space.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not like, let's copy Joy Division, let's make a
Yeah.
track like this or like that.
Yeah.
Let's try to, like you said, mimic or be inspired by.
Yeah.
They're just like, cool, that stuff's great.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're making music in our room together. Let's just fuck around and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. And Signl, the singer as well, said she doesn't really like listen to a lot of like new music. So that's another aspect as well, I think.
Right.
For at least for her, listening to older stuff and getting inspirations from there kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wrote some other sort of descriptors down for this band because they have a few tracks that remind me of Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Primus, even because Primus are kind of art rock mathy, right? A little bit.
And they have that kind of odd, quirky
Yeah.
component to their music too.
Yeah, because I think I heard a Wombo track that had some really weird, almost slap bass kind of weirdness, which is Primus do a lot of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Black Midi, I thought a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
I did an episode on them a while ago.
They're
from UK.
post-punk, very
Yeah.
wild.
Art rock. Stereo Lab. I don't know if you heard of them. They're like a French group. They've been around for a long time. I haven't. And in having their name come up in my research, just as a journalist that compared Wombo to them, I'm like, I have to go back and listen to some Stereo Lab now.
Yeah.
Because they got some good shit.
They've come up in my research too, but I know the name, but not the music.
Yeah, I think at least some of their members are French, like the singer or something like that. And also, like, this Wombo's sound reminds me a little bit of like a grunge Portishead
Okay, yeah.
on a few tracks. There's specifically this song I heard of theirs called Black Hole Sun 2. Can't remember which album it's on, but yeah, if you listen to that track, it's almost like if Portishead decided to go a little bit grungy.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Another influence that they said, I'll just mention real quick, Signl said that Dry Cleaning's new album was pretty good.
Yeah. And actually, I suggested this band because they came up randomly on Spotify, and it was as I was listening to slow pulp music, and like one of the slow pulp albums finished, and then Spotify just randomly started playing music, and there was this track from Wombo, and I was like, oh, what's this?
It was pretty good.
Because I thought it was like, is this still slow pulp? It wasn't, no. So I think maybe there might be in that sort of genre, dry cleaning, slow pulp,
Yeah,
Wombo,
totally.
like kind of similar crowds.
Yeah,
audiences
100%.
and that, yeah.
Should we go in? Should we play a track?
Yeah, one final thing I saw is how Wombo described themselves when asked to describe their music. And they said chaotic, organized, sad, happy.
Chaotic and organized.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's dynamic.
Organized chaos.
Entropy. But then that is what they talk about. I heard them, talking about entropy and what was the other word? I don't know. Organization.
Right.
But how that dichotomy is affecting us at all times.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my only thought. We should play a track.
Right, yeah. From their debut album, Staring at Trees, Claire's Layer. Wombo, Claire's Lair from their debut album Staring at Trees from 2017. There's a lot going on in that track. I like it. The vocals are almost kind of like 60s kind of psychedelia almost.
I mean,
like,
some of these vocals remind me a little bit of a woman called Yoko.
Yoko Ono, really? Yeah, I could hear that now. I didn't think about that originally, but yeah.
I don't know what yeah, okay. So I'm just saying criticisms. Let's talk criticisms for a second.
All right.
Let's get real, people.
Okay.
Because everything is to be criticized in the world. But yeah, I mean, the arrangements are intricate and they're cool. I just think a lot of the songs leave a little bit to be desired as far as like a climax or an end or a feeling of completeness. Some of them are just kind of like they're like floating, and then they get to the end of the song and it's like, okay, done. And that's just one thing that I think about when I listen to a band like this, because I think it's interesting, and I'm not trying to. It's just such a personal thing what I'm talking about right now. Yeah.
I mean, like their first album, I really liked it, but it's also very loose. It's almost like garage rock kind of thing.
That's all I'm saying. It's garagey and loose.
Yeah. Which is like kind of like where they came from, I think, playing together, kind of like I think you sort of mentioned it, like about how they write music. They do it in a live situation, in the rehearsal room kind of thing, and it all kind of evolves out of that, and they kind of want to keep that energy, I think. And it's interesting listening to all of their 3 albums. I feel like they're becoming more focused in like song structure and arrangements and all that. So it came from like a very loose sort of raw, grungy place, and it's becoming a little bit more refined and honed in as they progress throughout their career.
Right.
Is what I've felt and heard through it. Which, I think for me, like I really enjoyed the first album for some reason, like versus the most recent album. But I think it's like if you got to kind of like maybe approach it or listen to it in a certain mindset, right? If you're in that sort of grungy, I want to hear something raw and kind of rough around the edges, first album. If you want to hear something a little bit more song structure-y, maybe like the latest album. So I don't know. It's like a mindset thing, maybe. But,
well, and totally to go back to what I was saying about criticisms, like it is a mindset thing, and I don't mean to speak like negatively about anybody or being judgmental about this band, but I'm just saying sometimes I will go into listening to music with an expectation or a hope, basically those, and then I'll be dissatisfied because I'm not getting something that I expected. But that's having expectations, and that's weak sauce energy.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like watching a movie, right? There's like the traditional 3-act structure of movies, right? And the hero journey. Like the hero starts out, and he has all this stuff he needs to work on, and he's faced with adversity, and then he learns some things, and he overcomes it by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That's the traditional sort of story structure, and sometimes we expect that from like movies as well. Like if it doesn't do that, then we're like, what? Like I've watched some films or TV shows where it's like, I don't like any of these characters. I don't have any sympathy with any of them.
Yeah.
Like usually you're supposed to, right? You're supposed to like root for one of the characters or whatever.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know, maybe a parallel a little bit.
No, 100%. I think that's a great example, because these aren't like, again, I'm not trying to judge or shame or anything, because these guys are really great and they're creating cool, unique music that people are, catching on to.
Yeah.
But they are very new.
Yeah.
And like it's like their sound is pretty novel, and they're just kind of going with the flow, not trying to create anything like we were talking about, and they're just trying to be unique. But they don't have a lot of experience. Like they haven't made a lot of records.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're getting better and changing as they go, and you can see that. And that's one of the cool narratives that's cool to see in a band like this.
Yeah.
But they don't have that significant touring experience, and they haven't all been in bands before to get this experience. So I just feel like they're really new, like to the whole process of making music. And not to say that like I'm not new, I'm in the same spot. Yeah. But I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to keep talking about me.
Well, no, I'm searching around on my computer because I found, I was just trying to fact check and make sure I have the right thing here, because there is not a lot of information about this band out there. But one thing I did find is that Wombo came out of another band that was around, which featured Sydney and Cameron, called the Debauchees.
Right.
And that was kind of like their first band. And they were formed in high school. And they said that they didn't know how to play any of their instruments. And they just started the band kind of thing. I just want to play a little snippet of this to see what you think in comparison, because this is pretty different, but I think it's like a little bit more what you might expect going into a song.
Okay.
Like, we'll see what you think.
They don't have the time. They're working and they're fine. That's all I can say. Today is a good day. I don't mind, not at all. It's just that, well, I do. I only have feelings. I only have feelings. Aren't important to you. Oh,
Trying to wait for the chorus, but I'm not sure what the chorus is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
some of their music is not super structured in that way. Like, you can't tell what's coming.
Yeah.
You know, like what a switch up we just had in this song right now.
Yeah, but this is the Debauchees. This is the
Right.
band before Wombo, and it was slightly different because Sydney plays bass in Wombo, but she was playing guitar in the Debauchees and singing, and they had a different bass player. So
Interesting.
So that's and the same drummer. No, sorry, drummer was different.
That was yeah, okay.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, actually, Cameron and Sydney were both in here, but for Wombo they switched instruments. It sounds like.
That is why would you do that?
I don't know. Yeah, interesting.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, but,
I wish there was more info about this band, about the specifics, about where they came from and stuff. There just
Yeah.
wasn't a lot online.
No. Yeah, they're very new. I think there was like one reference that I could find to the Debauchees from like a local Kentucky like news website or something like that. It was talking about local music acts at the time.
Yeah.
And then there's no like YouTube video interviews I could see. There was
Right.
like some like couple of live in studio performances, and just like a few sort of like articles with surface level questions, and
Just like who's your favorite band?
what's your favorite color and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't one, but that's those types
On
of
the
questions.
same level. On the same level.
And this is jumping forward a little bit, but probably the most thing you'll hear of them talk about is their record label put out like a 30-minute podcast episode with them talking about every track on the latest album, going track by track kind of thing. So if you want to hear them talk about their own music, you can find that via their label's website. They're called Fire Talk. It's a label out of Brooklyn, small, independent. At a certain point, I don't think they even met them when they were signed. They just met them on Zoom, so they hadn't met them in person.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well.
Yeah, and the first album that Wombo put out was self-released. It was the second album that was out on Fire Talk.
And do we know how they got hooked up with Fire Talk?
I don't know.
Or I think they were touring.
It's
Or
possible.
I think they were playing live and they got found that way.
Yeah, I think they did some support slots for like some other like Kentucky band, White Reaper or something like that. I'm not sure. Just plucking that out of vague memory.
Sorry, but I don't mean we don't mean to be speculating or talking about stuff we don't know the whole time.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But let's play another track.
Yeah.
So that was from their first album, the track previous, the full track that we played. Now we'll play a track from their second full-length album release.
Sad World. That was the name of that track.
I like that one.
Yeah, from Wombo. Blossom Looks Down Upon Us, all written in one continuous word, is the title of that album. Yeah,
I feel like this is the type of band that I like more as they progress.
that's what I was saying. No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying the structure of their songs and that has gone from like garage rock to like a little bit more tighter, focused songs. That one, yeah.
I like the tight, focused songs.
There you go. Yeah,
So that's what I like about. But these guys are great. I mean, props. They're doing really great work. Like 3 albums is a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, for a short period of time. And yeah, it's interesting because when you think about like getting signed to a label, I know they're on a pretty small indie label that I think focuses more on like indie rock type stuff. But you hear a lot of the talk in the industry about like, oh, you have to have like hundreds of thousands of social media followers before a label will get interested in you and stuff like that. This band doesn't have that. Like from what I see, they don't have like a massive like social media following. Maybe like 5,000 Instagram followers, for example.
Right.
Which is not, so they're not like doing that to get places. I think, they're like, it seems like they're focusing on writing the music and playing live. And,
Right. It's very grassroots.
DIY-ish. Yeah, because like their recording process, I think, is pretty simple. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that, like the creative process or something.
Yeah. What do you got?
So, well, one of the things that Sydney said is about, because they write between them, like live, they'll say, someone will come up with like a bass line or a guitar riff, and then the drums will start added, and they'll just kind of like take it from there, kind of thing. And they said that melodies come like towards the middle point of that, and then lyrics are the very last thing that they do.
Yeah, she said like always the last.
Yeah, and she said like at a certain point she thought it would be like great to just record the shows and have that be the album kind of thing, but she said they have a perfectionist kind of streak where they can't really do that because they do want to like polish the recorded sound a little bit. But yeah, it sounds like they're trying to keep that live energy, and sometimes that's hard to translate into the recording, sense, especially if you're using computers and click tracks. I don't know if they use click tracks. I'm guessing they might not. They might just try and play it live all the way through.
Yeah.
And do it instead of doing that sort of stuff. But they keep it really simple. I think they kind of self-produce. They do have a guy that records for them.
Right, and he's their friend, right?
Yeah, a guy called Nick, I think. What's his name? Nick Roder. He has been around, definitely like the EP that they released before their most recent album. I'm not sure if he did Blossom Looks Down Upon Us. I'm not sure if he was on that as a recording engineer.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was reading. He did I think their first album, I thought, and then they definitely wanted to work with him on the next album they were coming out with.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, they have that first album's pretty rough, but they've had a consistent sort of production quality since the second album, I think. Yeah, that's like the main stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I'm sorry. I just feel like I don't have that much information on like what DAW they use or like specifics of what equipment.
I got a screenshot of Cameron's guitar pedal board.
Oh yeah.
You can see it at the very beginning of their live performance video that's on YouTube. He has a pedal called Memory Toy from Electro Harmonics. Do you know what that does? I don't know.
No, Electro Tie?
It's called Electro Toy. Oh no, it's called Memory Toy, but it's made by Electro Harmonics.
Okay, sounds like a delay.
Okay. He has the Big Muff.
Distortion.
Okay.
I had that one for bass. But they make them for guitar, I guess, as well.
He has a flanger. It looks like a very old 70s one. Well, this I can see very closely. It says flanger.
Okay.
On it.
Okay.
And something else here, maybe an amp simulator or something. I don't know.
He's a tuner.
I
know that one.
Yeah. Which is a simple sound, simple setup, right? For
there's
a
like
guitar
5 or
tone.
6 pedals.
Yeah.
That's the post-punk suite right there.
The post-punk suite.
Yeah.
Nice. Like it.
You just need a little flange, a little distortion,
Yeah.
a little twang,
Yeah.
and tuned up.
There you go.
And you're a band.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how they record.
One of those is a reverb for sure. Because
Yeah,
these
it
guys,
must
they
be.
do have kind of like a shoegaze vibe at some points,
Yeah.
like kind of shoegazy.
Well, so one thing I didn't know about the most recent album, I think we can move on to that. Yeah. Fairy Rust.
I mean, 100%,
Yeah. 2022, that came out.
Right.
They said, because you mentioned reverb, one of the things they did to create reverb was put a bass amp in a bathroom and mic it up, because they're trying to capture the reverb in the recording instead of trying to put it on afterwards, kind of thing. And apparently that's kind of what they did for this album, Fairy Rust in general, is that they wanted to like try and capture the sonic ambience or textures at the source instead of trying to apply it afterwards, kind of thing. So doing those sorts of things. Mic placement, I guess, for the drums was a big component they talked about as well. But they just wanted to minimize, like, you know,
I always think it's funny,
stuff afterwards.
like a band's going for like, oh, we want that natural sound. Like, just want to hear the room, you know?
Yeah.
We don't want to.
We don't want to hear the music. We just want to hear the room.
Yeah. And instead of like, but like not even just, okay, let's get the room sound. Let's like, we're going to still move this amp into a bathroom to get the
Right.
real sound.
Yeah.
Because the amp's always in the bathroom and that's how it sounds.
Yeah, it always is. Like you hear stories from Jimi Hendrix days and all that. They put the amp in the bathroom, or they put the singer in the bathroom. Or something. Yeah, it's always the bathroom,
It's always the bathroom.
bathtub or whatever. Yeah,
Because that's where shit goes down. Okay?
pun intended.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we should play a track from this latest album, 2022 drop.
Right. Yeah. A
Very-
track you picked out. Yeah.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Snaky.
Top of the first track, lead off.
Driving along the open road and he sees it. Stepping into the country store and they see him. Pushing it up off his bones and he shows it. Everyone wants to take a look and he knows it. Tell me what are you looking for? Says the woman. Letting yourself on past the door, no one follows. Then I go with a ring again, call tomorrow. Driving along the open road like a serpent. Walking into the country store and he sees it. Cutting himself off on the floor, no one follows. Everyone wants to drag him down and he knows it.
Snaky. That's the track.
Yeah.
Wombo.
So it's like a great track. It just doesn't really go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just saying, like, I think these guys are really great.
Yeah.
Personally, they're like really close to me, really liking them. but it falls flat.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just being a hater on this episode. I'm so sorry,
wow.
everybody. I like this band. I'm not meaning to be a hater. I'm just trying to have a critical eye.
Okay.
Because I guess that's what I fall back on when I don't have any other information on the band.
Just critique.
I'm just gonna criticize them.
Sorry. Do you want to hear this crazy ass description of this album? Because I think journalists sometimes like to I'm gonna use all these crazy words to describe something.
It's really gonna go off on this particular article.
This is from a website called Brooklyn Vegan, which I've come across a couple of times. Weird title, but I think is a music website. Brooklyn Vegan.
That's okay. Sure, I'll go with.
It's not a cooking website, I think. And they said these are songs that would bewitch even as an instrumental album. Slithering bass lines, spiderweb guitar work full of spooky harmonics and jazzy muscular drumming recall a wide swatch of 1981 from The Cure and Susie to Young Marble Giants and The Slits. I didn't read that very flowing.
No, I think we all got the idea.
But yeah.
I mean, yeah, using a lot of playful, adjectives and metaphors.
Yeah. So let's critique this Brooklyn Vegan website as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Change your name from, even if it was a cooking vegan website, I wouldn't read it.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know. I'm just hating on everybody today.
Just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Lyrically inspired by stories from the Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen.
I do know the Brothers Grimm though, because I mean, yeah, we could talk about I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
But I mean, I think you were talking about like the vocals or like the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that is one thing. Like you said, Brothers Grimm, we're talking like some of these Disney stories that are grim, no pun intended, but like they're kind of dark.
Yeah.
Like almost a lot of those Disney stories have a really dark background from the story that it was inspired by.
Yeah.
And so like Brothers Grimm had a lot of these stories or something, or at least one or two that Disney copped and made into their own thing.
Right.
Disneyfied it.
Yeah.
But to talk about what Chadwick writes about a lot is kind of these imagination type things or metaphorical situations or dream like situations. And that's where she gets a lot of the inspiration for the lyrical content.
Right.
Which I think is really cool and really great spot to be in as far as writing lyrics goes.
Yeah, and she did kind of outline her different inspirations on this Brooklyn Vegan website, which includes the Brothers Grimm, a short animation called Malice in Wonderland as well, which I don't know too much about. I think I might have come across it a long time ago.
Sounds spooky.
Yeah. Lots of like obscure sort of like Cartoon Network cartoons as well. She has been inspired by.
They just shut down Cartoon Network too, by the way.
No, really?
I think so. I think unless it was a lie.
Damn.
Unless it was false news. Or what do they call it? Fake news?
Fake news, yeah. Well, you heard it here first. I heard it here first. One other thing, when she was writing the lyrics for this album, she used to like go to the park near her house and basically just kind of chill out and read a book or listen to this app, which we've talked about before on the Polo and Pan episode called Radio. It's like radio with 5 O's.
Yeah, radio.
Yeah. And we mentioned it on the Polo and Pan episode because it was the friends of Polo and Pan that created this app. And these guys also did Polo and Pan's artwork, I think, as well.
Very cool.
But yeah, this website is basically like a map of the world, and you can go through history and listen to like the music that was coming out of different areas at that time, kind of thing. So you can go back to the 1960s Egypt and see what was being played on the radio or coming out at that time, kind of thing.
That is cool.
So Sydney was listening to this app before she even had Spotify or anything like that to like listen to a lot of music. So
real quick, wasn't Khruangbin doing something like that? Some kind of, they had a big playlist based on different locations around the world.
Yeah, I think so. They've done a lot of playlists and radio mix shows of obscure things, like Vietnamese like music and stuff like that.
Like Arabic, funk or whatever.
Yeah, because he does like Mark from Khruangbin does the really deep dive. Like once he's like interested in like Taiwanese funk from the 60s or whatever, he'll just go down a rabbit hole or whatever. Find
goes
everything.
deep.
I don't know how he finds this stuff. It's amazing though. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of a weird thing. I don't know if she knows about Polo and Pan, or she just came across this app.
Those
in
are
a
pretty
different way, but
distinct
yeah,
genres.
different, right? Very
Quite
different,
far away.
quite
seeming.
far away.
I don't think you'd see them playing the same show together, probably.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Polo and Pan played Seattle last month, though.
Really?
I wanted to see it, but
We're always missing. I don't keep track enough of the live show dates.
we're too busy creating content, Jay.
Yeah.
It's our duty. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so we don't have a lot more.
This is all. That's basically all I got, guys. I'm sorry. I feel like this episode is just a little shallow as far as information and content.
But I think we're probably have more information on this than there is on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, this is the go-to. We just whittled it down into one spot, and now we have the info in one spot for the internet.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. But they are touring. They've done like small tours though. I was interested to see where they were playing. They played Sunset Tavern in Seattle.
Oh, did they?
Part of their tour, which is a smaller venue in Seattle. We played there, I think, a long time ago. And their next show is like on the 30th of December in Chicago at this like tiny little. It looks like a Sunset Tavern type place, like a dive bar with a stage in the back type thing. So they're doing like these smaller venues still, So I think they're doing like what we talked about other artists. They're doing the grind thing, I think, right now.
Yeah.
They're like so new, but they're prolific because a lot of bands don't have 3 albums out whilst they're still in this like grind mode.
That's one of the greatest things that they've accomplished, I think,
Yeah.
is just pumping out good music.
Yeah.
3 solid albums.
Music videos as well. They had to have a bunch of music videos out there for these tracks, these albums.
Yeah. And then tour and get their word out there, getting in front of people's faces.
Yeah. So I feel like, maybe we'll hear more of them. We don't know. They're just grinding it out right now. So, to our listeners out there, if you like this music, go check them out and,
Invite us to a show.
Invite us to a show. Yeah.
We'd love to go.
Yeah.
Officially, that's all I have on this band.
Right.
I think we should play out with a dope track
Okay.
and call it a day on Wombo.
Right.
What do you think? Last thoughts?
That was it. Was this too obscure, too underground? Let us know. Let me know, Jesse. I don't know.
No, I think these guys are right up the alley for Roots to Grooves.
Yeah.
Just there was not that much information online.
Yeah.
And we're doing our best we can.
Yeah.
We're learning and growing as people here too, so thank you for your patience, everybody.
I think that's one. When I come across bands like this where there isn't much information out there, it makes me think about like the marketing PR side of music and what you need to do as a band or as a new artist to get out there, kind of thing. Makes me think about those sorts of things, like maybe making a point of like cold contacting like a bunch of podcasts or radio shows or websites to kind of invite yourself as an artist onto these things to get your story out there, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the age of the internet, I think the more there is out there about you as an artist or your story or what you're trying to communicate through the songs, like that's what it makes me think of. Like, the more the better. If you're that type of artist, I mean, not every artist wants to be all out there all the time, right? Maybe they just want to do the music and call it a day, but for career sort of stuff, for business side.
In today's society, we're all still humans, obviously.
Yeah.
And we still have our human brains, but we also have the internet now.
Yeah.
Which is, with the advent of the internet, it's thrown off like the way we socialize.
Yeah.
Incoming social media here now. And so people communicate and interact with bands and people differently than they used to.
Yeah.
And they engage with them online more so than they do in person.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of something that you got to lean into if you want to get your stuff out there. More people are finding stuff on their phone than at a venue.
Yeah.
So the more content you can have online is going to be more valuable for people finding you.
And I guess, the two-way contact, because it never used to be that way, right? But now I see a lot of bands, like some band members will have 3 phones because they're putting the phone numbers of everyone they meet at shows in there and they can't hold all the contacts in one phone.
Yeah.
they do all that, and they're like staying in contact via text message, like sending out new releases, music videos, and kind of creating a tribe that way of like listeners and people
Right.
that will like go out and champion the music. Like it's not even like, I think it's just a natural thing. It isn't like a forced thing. It's just like, it's just the two-way communication. It's like, oh, you like our music? Well, let me get your contact details. And
It's almost like being what do you call it when you do a promotion for a company, like a freelance, exposure agent?
yeah, PR and publicist.
Yeah, but like when you're associated with a brand,
Oh,
but you're just doing like a little bit of commission work for a brand, but you're not actually like working for them.
like a brand partnership. Or something
Yeah, like a paid partnership type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you've heard of Andrew Tate?
Not sure.
He's been like this crazy influencer guy talking about like male advice, whatever, just his own thoughts. And he's pretty divisive. Some people are like, this guy's right on the money. Other people are like, he's talking nonsense. This is very unhealthy for our young people of our society. And I'm not saying either way.
Yeah.
But he's just, one of the ways that he grew his following was by having other people push his videos rather than just pushing himself.
Right.
And getting like a team of marketers.
Yeah.
Like, like kind of like a pyramid scheme almost.
Oh, like a street crew,
Right.
like guerrilla street team,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Like, instead of posting my video and trying to get a bunch of likes,
Yeah.
I'm going to have you post my video.
Right.
And then you're going to have somebody else post that video. And he's going to have somebody else post that video.
It's like a pyramid Ponzi scheme.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't know how it works or something,
yeah.
but it is a tactic that people are using to get their word out. And it seems like it works.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm interested in.
It's like encouraged word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of
encourage.
people freely doing it of their own volition, he's like, hey, why don't you share this?
I have a suggestion.
I have a suggestion.
for what you should do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just something to think about. I'm not saying that's a right or wrong thing to do with
Yeah.
your personal content for your brand.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see what people are do, even whether it's right or wrong, or seeing whether it works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, not part of the conversation.
Yeah. And I feel like, maybe now we're talking about this, and I brought up that subject. I was like, am I being too surface level now? I was like, should I have like dived more into a bit more of the inspirations behind Wombo's lyrics and talked a little bit more about that, where they're coming from?
We're good.
But, yeah. No, we're good. Out.
We're
All right.
out. Thank you
Okay.
guys. We're playing out with the song Jay. Also, if you want to hit us up, Jay's got the email.
Roots to Grooves at signalradio.com. SIGNL radio.com.
And other than I'm gone again, you wave your hand over my lens, but I am watching something good. I tell you if you understood.
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signal Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.